A China analyst says Trump's positive virus test result may prompt him to take an even tougher line against threats posed by the CCP.
China analyst Tang Jingyuan says the news might prompt U.S. President Trump to take an even harder approach towards the Chinese regime.
As the U.S. president, he's supposed to have the highest level of security and protection, but even he can't get away from the virus. From one side, it shows that the threat that the CCP has brought to the world is far beyond people's imagination.
In May, the Trump administration issued a new report detailing its strategic approach to China. The report criticized the past U.S. engagement policy towards the CCP. It also condemned China's actions on trade and other issues. But it also states that U.S. policies are not premised on an attempt to change the PRC's or People's Republic of China's domestic governance model.
In the past, Trump's attitude towards the Chinese Communist Party was still somewhat limited, in the sense that he could coexist with it, because the approach he adopted was mainly the reciprocal strategy, which means if you treat me better, I can also treat you better. This is also reflected in Trump's behavior. For example, his treatment of trade agreements. The trade agreement between him and the CCP is still important. He is more reluctant to part with it. Although we all know, anyone who understands the nature of the CCP knows that this trade agreement is only a tactic used to delay. On the other hand, on the Hong Kong issue, we can see that he seldom speaks out publicly on human rights issues in Hong Kong. And even when he signed the Hong Kong bill, he signed it later. His attitude shows that he still has some reservations towards the CCP and Xi Jinping.
This week, the House GOP's China Task Force published a new report. It suggests 400 recommendations for the U.S. to counter threats by the CCP. The first on the list, for the White House to clearly and publicly state the intention to break the Chinese regime's totalitarianism. It says America's goal must not be indefinite coexistence with a hostile communist state, but rather the end of the party's monopoly on power. All policies should flow from this North Star.
Anti-communist and eliminating communism, these are two different stages. Anti-communist allows coexistence with the CCP, but eliminating communism is not the same. It's a life and death battle.
President Trump has recently joined the ranks of world leaders who have been infected with the CCP virus. The first being British Prime Minister Boris Johnson, who has since made a U-turn in his China policy. Previously China-friendly, he now embraces a tough stance on the regime. Penny Zhou, NTD News.